Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome back to the Sunday video, which today we are going to focus on the November 1989 WWF the Magazine, featuring the Ultimate Warrior on the front cover, and the Ultimate Warrior, the second greatest wrestler of all time. And here comes a litany of haters. A litany of haters, because everyone's gonna hate on the Ultimate Warrior. That's okay. I get it. A lot of people are not Ultimate Warrior fans. You know, hey, he's like a one or two move guy. You know what? I get it. Not everyone's gonna be the 1-2-3 Kid or Bret Hart, guys like that. Guys who are actual technical wrestlers, who actually have legitimate skill. Got it. But you know what? I am an Ultimate Warrior fan. I loved the Ultimate Warrior as a kid. I will always be an Ultimate Warrior fan. Now, obviously, hearing about Ultimate Warrior as an adult and hearing about some of the things that he did, how he treated fans, you know what? I got it. Are those stories true? I don't know. It's hearsay. Did it legitimately happen? You know, there's the guys in the locker room. So when you hear like these podcasts and these interviews, I have to assume that what is said was actually happening, because those are the guys in the locker room. That's what you have to assume, that what you hear from the guys who actually experience it firsthand are telling the truth, but you just never know. You know, bad blood between folks. Could they be lying on the man? Who knows? But Ultimate Warrior to me was one of the most energetic and popular characters. I mean, in the 1990s especially, he outsold even Hulk Hogan. And there probably never will be a bigger superstar than the immortal one Hogan himself. So I'm a fan of the Ultimate Warrior. So I mean, what more can I say? And as a fan of Warrior, whenever I hear anything negative said about him, it's like whenever I hear something negative said about Hogan, I don't like it. I'm always going to be a number one fan of Hulk Hogan, or he's always going to be my number one favorite wrestler, right? So when you hear something said about your favorite wrestler, or something said about your favorite singer, like I'm a Michael Jackson fan. Michael Jackson will always be my number one all-time favorite singer. So whenever you hear something negative said about MJ, you don't want to hear it. Especially, you know, when you know it's not true. Years later, you hear the stories that come out, you know, hey, my parents forced me to say these things. And it's like, damn. You know, that's a conversation for another time, right? So not anything that's going to be pertinent to this story or pertinent to this video. But let's dive into this particular video and see what this magazine's all about. And what I'm noticing a lot with the 89 magazines, it seems like 89, the books always seem to be very thick, which I'm really loving this year. So that's always pretty incredible. So in this issue, Andre Faces the Warrior, a profile on Coco, and lunch with your favorite wrestler. So I think during this time, of course, Andre getting older, back problems. There's a point where they're having like these little house shows, right? And Andre, he's mocking Ultimate Warrior. You know, Warrior jumps into the ring and he's shaking the ropes like he normally does. And Andre, he's got his back turned to him and he's over there shaking the ropes, mocking him. Warrior comes behind him, clobbers the heck out of him. Andre falls down. Warrior does his little splash, pins him, bam. Andre's pinned in like a less than a 1 minute squash match. And how humiliating for a mega superstar like Andre, right? But at the end of the day, it's a paycheck for Andre. A lot of fans might not like that because you're humiliating one of the greatest superstars of all time. But what do you want from him? The man was having back problems. He really couldn't handle much more. His body really couldn't take much more in the ring. And this was a way that for him to still earn a paycheck. So a 1 minute squash match, I mean, how much money was he making for that? Hundreds, thousands of dollars for that 1 minute of work, if you call it that. So I'm sure if you're Andre the Giant, you weren't complaining. Now, he wasn't a fan of Ultimate Warrior, and I'm sure he did not like putting Warrior over at all. But I mean, he and Warrior were constantly doing house shows together, and you hear interviews with Bobby Heenan. I mean, you know, rest in peace, Bobby. But Bobby Heenan used to always give these interviews talking about how, you know, Ultimate Warrior would be acting a fool and everything, and he'd be like clotheslining Andre like he's trying to take his head off and whatnot. So one day, Andre, during one of those matches where Warrior tried to do a clothesline, and Andre just puts his fist up and knocks him the hell out. Andre looks at him like, "Oh, you're not going to do that again now, are you?" So the next day, during the match, when Warrior goes in for a clothesline, he makes sure to try and hold back on that clothesline. So so Andre looks at him like he's learning. I just thought that was the funniest freaking thing I've ever heard in my life. Oh man. When I think Andre passed in like what, 93, I believe. And I would have only been like 8 years old. But damn it, would I have loved to have met Andre the Giant. Would I have loved to have this man still be alive today? Or at least live to be in the 2010s or something. You know, have me in my 20s, early 30s, something, have the opportunity to live, have him live long enough where I could, you know, actually meet him, you know, deep into my adulthood, you know, mid-late 20s at the very least. I have the opportunity to meet him, talk to him, sit down, have dinner with something, you know. And I'm not talking going to like some convention, you know, 2 minutes, you know, take a picture with him, shake his hand, you know, have a 2-minute conversation. No, that's nothing. I mean, literally, you having like an interview with them, or you know, like an actual dinner type of deal. Hear his stories and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, that was a Bobby Heenan told story, but how incredible. I mean, Bobby Heenan, that's another man I would have loved to have sat down with and hear his history and hear his stories and whatnot. I mean, look at his stable of characters with Rick Rude and King Kong Bundy and Stud and Andre and Haku, right? And Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair, just a litany of characters over the course of his career. Brainbuster, etc. It's just legendary. You know, I just came across a video, what was it, yesterday or last night, where someone's interviewing Coco Beware, and they're talking about, you know, how do you feel about Hogan using the N-word? And I really wish people would just let that go, man. I mean, I want to put this out there, guys. While I'm going over this video, it bothers me. Every single one of us can agree. That word, it's something that makes a black person feels like dirt, right? There is a reason. There's a reason why it's the most hated word in the English language. So none of us are excited or happy to hear any person out there use that word. It sickens us. For many of us, like even the idea of saying the word out loud, like we can't. It's like it physically makes you ill to say it. But at the end of the day, this man wasn't calling out a certain ethnic group. He was calling out one particular person who he may not have liked, who he may not have liked his daughter dating. One specific individual. And to have a whole population of people, especially many of who grew up idolizing him, and just because it's popular today to hate on a man, they're absolutely disgusting. This man is a freaking legend and an idol, and his legacy is tarnished by use of one word. You know, he said a decade and a half ago in the privacy of his own home while being recorded secretly and unknowingly, right? So it's just it's depressing to think that your whole life can be ruined by one secret recording. I feel for him. I feel for his family, because you know they carry the Hogan name, and that's weird. Like, I think about Brooke Hogan. Like, why is her name Brooke Hogan, not Brooke Bolea? Honestly, I've never looked into that. Like, was his name legally changed or something? Once I edit this video, or once I stop filming this video, I'm gonna look into that, because I'm very curious how that worked out. And just thinking about this, like I've never questioned that. I really never thought about it. But that video with Koko Beware, I'm very eager to watch it and see what he has to say. I mean, I'm almost positive that he is going to speak very highly of Hulk Hogan. I remember this. What is this? You know, where they pick you up and they kind of like drop you on your legs and you kind of go flying up in the air and whatnot. I don't know what the hell this move is called, but she goes flying right into the clutches of Elizabeth. She slaps the living hell out of her, and it's funny as hell because Sherry is just knocked the hell out. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, in all honesty, comment. Do you think, like, I'm overvaluing Hogan too much? I mean, what are your guys' opinions in the matter? Because I know how I feel about it, but I mean, there's reasons why I like open discussion, because I like hearing opinions. I mean, obviously, don't go overboard. Don't be derogatory and leave hateful comments, stuff like that. But as long as people are leaving respectful comments and giving your point of view and everything, I'm curious to hear what other people think on the situation. I just think all in all, just because it's like the PC thing or the popular thing to hate on the man, I think that's all it is. A bunch of ship jumpers. But enough on that, right? $17. So, I think I talked about this before with the wrestling ring back in '89. And I think Vince McMahon and... so what was a wrestling ring? I think it's like what Ringside Collectibles would be today. I don't think Ringside Collectibles is a spin-off of the wrestling ring. You know, it might be. The wrestling ring. Your official ring, wrestling ring connect. No, I don't know. Ringside Collectibles. Ringside Collectibles. I know Ringside Collectibles is old. Like, it's been around since like the 90s. So I think actually Ringside Collectibles might be a spin-off of the wrestling ring, but WWF actually took the wrestling ring to court over this because they were charging they were charging basically double, more than double what LJN WWF were charging for their figures back in the day, because these figures used to cost like what, $7-8 for these, and then they start charging $17 as you see here in '89. But you know, they weren't LJN anymore, they were Grand Toys at this point, and they were manufactured in Canada, and they were no longer US based. So I don't know what the issue was. I mean, they were their own stuff. They could charge $1 million if they wanted to. Doesn't mean anybody had to buy them, right? If I got a house that's valued at $300,000 and I want to charge you $10 million for the house, you don't have to pay $10 million for the house. It just means I will never sell it, right? So, and when you look at, you know, price of $17.89, and then you look at, you know, Latuni and Big Rubber Guys today with $50 on their action figures, it actually matches up, because that's basically what the figures are worth, you know, today with today's market value. So, but what sucks is you got companies like Mattel trying to screw over the little guy, and you know, that's disgusting. You know, Mattel is this multi-billion-dollar corporation. You know, they can go out and spend, you know, buy, let's say, 80,000 units of wrestling figures from China, and you know, these figures they could buy for like $1 a piece from a Chinese manufacturer, and turn around and sell those $1 figures for $25 at Target or Target.com and make an absolute killing. But let's say myself as an example. Let's say if I want to buy my figure, I can't buy 80,000 units. I can't buy them for $1 a piece. So let's say I can only buy 500 units, which is the bare minimum you could buy from China. That means I'm going to have to pay $20 per figure or $30 per figure. Well, how do I turn a profit on that? I'm going to have to sell them for $100 per figure, which means or something to that effect, right? Because when you take in purchase price, when you take in shipping price, when you take in, once you sell the item, you know, taxes you have to pay into it. What if I have to sell on eBay? You know, resale prices, eBay selling fees, things like that. So $100, okay, you might earn $60 on that, if that. So you're really not making any money on it, not a whole lot. So when I look at Latuni Big Rubber Guys, $50, I mean, they're not really making any money either. They really have to sell a ton of figures to start making like some decent money. And it's not just, you know, companies like, you know, BRG and Latuni, but you also got to think about resellers on eBay, Mercari, etc. Mattel is really trying to screw everybody over, because a lot of people, they do customizations on eBay, right? Let's say I got these figures here, just ordinary LJNs that I want to sell on eBay. Just normal collectors, just collecting regular LJN figures. Well, who wants to go out and pay $300 for an original LJN Big Boss Man when, you know, someday in the next year or two, Mattel can release a 100% replica to the original LJN and probably sell it for like $25. So That's what's coming your way, and that's what's killing the market. So, oh man, that is dynamite. Love this look. Look at Harry Andre. Yeah. Oh, buddy. Big Boss Man vows, I'll beat a confession out of Dusty Rhodes. Oh, that is so good. There's the one I think what we looked at last week, I believe, where you had Dusty in like the policeman hat, and he may have had the nightstick and all, but he wasn't wearing the polka dot uniform. He had like the tie-dye shirt, and I actually would have liked that instead of keep releasing the same polka dot uniform over and over again, which is done to death. I want to try something different from time to time. Piper prepares for Rowdy vows vengeance on Rude and Heenan. I'm back. Garvin's constant reminder to Valentine. I don't know, Ronnie. I kind of like him better as a referee. As a wrestler, to me he kind of mimics Valentine too much. Or is it just me, man? Like facially, I mean, he obviously there's like a clear difference, right? But the yellow trunks, the blonde hair, just. I mean, isn't the figure 4 like his finisher too? So the ripoff, it just kind of bothers me. There we go. Change it up a little bit. The WWF Thanksgiving Night Tradition Survivor Series, November 23rd, live on pay-per-view. The Hulkamaniacs versus the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, or versus the $1 Million Team. The Ultimate Warriors versus Heenan Family. Roddy's. The Rude Brood. The 4x4s versus the King's Court. And the Dream Team versus the Enforcers. Damn. Boss Man, Akeem, Rick Martel, and Honky Tonk. That is a freaking dynamic lineup right there. Randy Savage, Greg Valentine, Dino Bravo, and the Widowmaker. The Widowmaker. I have no idea. Who's the Widowmaker? I don't remember him. Bret Hart, Hercules, Ronnie Garvin, and Hacksaw were the 4x4s. Roddy's Rowdies, the Bushwhackers, Jimmy Snuka and Roddy Piper versus Rude, Perfect, the Fabulous Rougeau Brothers. Poor freaking Piper, man. He got a bunch of bums. Jesus. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, man. The freaking Heenan family are going to destroy the Warriors. You got Andre, Haku, and the Brainbusters. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, Jim Neidhart can hold his own. The Rockers are badass. So, yeah. And Ultimate Warrior is dynamic. So, Demolition, Robertson, Hogan versus $1 Million Man, Zeus, and Powers of Pain. Yeah, okay, 89 Survivor Series. This looks fun. And down here with Dusty Rhodes, Brutus, Tito, and Red Rooster. Yeah, the Enforcers are going to destroy them. Yeah, 89 Survivor Series. That looks like a fun one. The Hitman Goes Alaskan. Yep, there we go. That's the tie-dye shirt I'm looking for. Rip 'em. I still say Rip Thomas and Zeus No Holds Barred was still the best wrestling movie ever. All right. This was a good magazine. I liked it. All right. All right, that's it for this video, guys. Sorry about my Hogan rant, but it had to be said. And it'll probably, as long as it's an issue, I think I'll probably continue to harp on the matter because everybody seems to keep bringing it up. So, and I need to protect Hogan as much as I can because, you know, he is a legacy after all. And I hate that people keep tearing him down. So it drives me nuts. But that's it for this video, guys. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. And I will speak with you guys in the comments and talk to you or see you all in the next video. Take care, everybody.